Welcome back, everybody. Today, we're going deep on something pretty fascinating, the U.S. auto market. But we're not talking about just any segment. We're going to be zeroing in on the growing influence of Latino consumers. Now, you might already know that this is a powerful demographic, and all but get ready for some stats and trends that are going to reshape your thinking.
Yeah, it's really mind-blowing when you think about it. Like, if the U.S. Latino community was its own country, it would rank as like the world's fifth largest economy. Just huge. And get this, by 2030, Latinos are projected to make up 1 in 3 new car sales. That's crazy. The future of the whole auto industry is like deeply intertwined with understanding and connecting with this consumer group.
1 in 3 new car sales by 2030. I mean, that's a number that just jumps right out at you. I think a lot of people hearing that would assume that's just because the Latino population is growing so rapidly. But there's more to it than that, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, population growth is definitely part of it, but there are deeper factors at play here. For example, the average Latino car buyer is 30 years old. That's a full 14 years younger than the average non-Hispanic white buyer. So they're entering the market a lot earlier, and what's really interesting is they have a distinct preference for new cars. And this isn't just about keeping up with the Joneses. It's really tied to some deeper cultural values and aspirations.
So while a lot of Americans are holding on to their cars longer, maybe for financial reasons or just being practical, Latino consumers are bucking that trend. What's driving this desire for new overused?
Well, a 2023 study by IHS Markit found that over 60% of Latino car buyers choose new over used. It might be about reliability, ensuring a safe and dependable vehicle for their families. It could also be about status, a new car kind of reflecting their hard work and achievement. And of course, let's not forget the financial aspect. The new car often comes with better financing options, which is especially important for younger buyers or those who are still building their credit.
That's interesting because it really challenges some common assumptions. We always hear about the financial burden of new cars, but it sounds like for this demographic, it's about a lot more than just the sticker price. It's an investment that aligns with their values and goals. Speaking of values, another thing that really stands out is this strong emphasis on community and word-of-mouth recommendations.
Oh yeah, definitely. For Latino consumers, the opinions of family and friends carry a lot of weight. And that trust extends to online spaces as well. Facebook groups, YouTube reviews, even WhatsApp conversations. These platforms become like hubs for sharing car buying experiences and recommendations.
So it's not just about flashy ads, it's about authentic engagement. Smart dealerships need to be a part of these conversations, building trust and relationships within those online communities. It's about being present where the consumers are not just waiting for them to walk into the showroom.
Exactly.
Right.
Now let's get into the specifics of brand preferences. Toyota has been king for over 20 years, consistently holding the top spot among Latino car buyers. What's their secret?
Well, they're known for their reliability, which is something that resonates with a community that values long-term investments. And of course, affordability plays a role too. Toyota offers a wide range of models that fit different budgets, which is really crucial for first-time buyers and families.
And they've also made a real effort to connect with the community through culturally relevant marketing. Like Spanish language advertising that goes beyond just simple translation, featuring relatable stories and themes that really resonate with Latino values.
Yeah, it's about speaking their language literally and figuratively. And Toyota doesn't just stop at advertising. They've been actively involved in sponsoring community events and supporting organizations that focus on Latinos. It's about building genuine connections and demonstrating a commitment that goes way beyond just selling cars.
Now, right behind Toyota, you've got Honda, another brand that's seen a lot of success with the Latino market. They're known for fuel efficiency and affordability, which is particularly appealing to a younger demographic who might be prioritizing practicality and value for their money.
The Civic CR-V and Accord models are really popular. It seems like Honda has found that sweet spot of offering reliable and stylish vehicles without breaking the bank. And, that resonates with a lot of people regardless of their background.
Next up, we have Chevrolet, a classic American brand that's really made a name for itself with trucks and SUVs, the Silverado, Equinox, and Tahoe. Vehicles that are tough and ready for anything, whether it's work or family adventures.
And Chevrolet has been very direct about targeting the Latino market. Their Spanish language marketing campaigns are often praised for being authentic and engaging, highlighting family values and community connections. They even use humor effectively, which can be a really powerful way to create memorable ads that resonate.
That's right. Good humor can really cut through the clutter.
Yeah.
Now, a brand that's been really shaking things up in the Latino market is Nissan. They've seen some aggressive growth in recent years, and that's thanks in part to their strategic focus on this segment.
They've been really successful with models like the Ultima and Rogue, appealing to a wide range of buyers from young professionals to growing families. And like the other brands we've talked about, Nissan understands the importance of connecting with the community both online and offline.
Yeah, you'll see them sponsoring local events, partnering with Latino organizations, and actively engaging with consumers on those social media platforms that are popular within the community. It's a multi-pronged approach that's really paying off for them.
And last but definitely not least, we have Ford, another brand that's synonymous with American trucks and SUVs. The F-150 Ranger and Bronco SUVs are really popular, especially in communities where there's a lot of construction work.
It's interesting to see how Ford has tailored their messaging to really connect with the specific needs and interests of Latino consumers. They highlight the durability and capability of their trucks, showcasing them as reliable partners for both work and family life.
And they're not just sticking with what they know. Ford's also been making a push to appeal to the next generation of car buyers with their new electric models like the Mustang Mach-E. It's a bold move that seems to be working with younger, more tech-savvy Latinos who are more and more environmentally conscious these days.
That's a really crucial point. As we move forward, understanding the nuances within the Latino market is going to be critical. It's not one big group.
Yeah.
There are different generations, different preferences and values at play.
That makes a lot of sense. Let's take a closer look at those key differences next. How do Latino car buyers compare to other consumer segments in terms of what they value and how they make their purchasing decisions?
One of the most striking contrasts is the median age. We've already said that the average Latino car buyer is a full 14 years younger than the general U.S. market. And this age difference has really big implications for how dealerships need to approach marketing and sales.
So we're not just talking about different languages or cultural references, it's about really understanding the priorities and values of a different generation. Younger buyers might be more tech savvy, more focused on sustainability, and maybe even more open to alternative financing options.
Exactly. And that brings us to another key difference, the preference for new versus used cars, while Latinos strongly favor new cars. Other segments like African American consumers tend to lean more towards used cars, and Asian American consumers often express a preference for those new luxury vehicles.
It's interesting how those preferences kind of reflect different cultural and economic factors for some. A used car might represent practicality and value, while for others, a new car kind of symbolizes achievement and upward mobility. And then there's that whole world of luxury vehicles, which often tap into aspirations of exclusivity and status.
Yeah, it really highlights the fact that there's no one-size-fits-all approach. Dealerships need to move beyond generic marketing strategies and really try to get into understanding those specific motivations and desires of each consumer segment.
Okay, so we've talked about age, new versus used preferences. But what about brand loyalty? Do those patterns hold true across different segments?
Well, while Toyota, Honda, Chevrolet, Nissan, and Ford dominate the Latino market, the general U.S. market sees a slightly different ranking, with Ford and Chevrolet often taking the lead. African American consumers also show a strong affinity for Chevrolet and Ford, while Asian American consumers tend to gravitate more towards brands like Toyota, Honda, Lexus, and even Tesla.
Tesla, that's interesting. It seems like electric vehicles are starting to make their mark, especially among certain demographics, but we'll get back to EVs in a bit first. I'm curious about those key influences that drive purchasing decisions. We talked about the power of family recommendations for Latino consumers, but how does that compare to other groups?
Well, for the general market, traditional advertising and brand reputation might play a bigger role for African American consumers. Factors like community trust and accessible financing options often hold a lot of weight. And for Asian American consumers, technological features and strong resale value can be big decision drivers.
It sounds like dealerships need to be anthropologists as much as salespeople. Understanding those subtle but significant differences could be the key to unlocking success in such a diverse market.
I totally agree. And then, of course, there's the whole aspect of language. We know that a huge 76% of Latino car buyers prefer interacting with Spanish-speaking sales representatives. This highlights a really critical area where many dealerships need to step up their game.
Yeah, it's more than just offering brochures in Spanish. It's about creating a welcoming and inclusive environment where customers feel understood and respected.
That's right. It's about having staff who can really connect on a cultural level, who understand the nuances of language and can build that trust through genuine communication.
Okay, so we've uncovered some really fascinating insights about this very diverse landscape of the U.S. auto market. But let's shift gears now and talk about what dealerships can do to actually translate this knowledge into action. What are some concrete steps they can take to really connect with these different consumer segments, particularly that rapidly growing Latino market?
Well, it's all about moving beyond that one-size-fits-all approach and embracing a more nuanced and targeted strategy for starters. Hiring Spanish-speaking staff should be a top priority.
Yeah, that seems like a no-brainer, especially when you consider that over three-quarters of Latino car buyers prefer interacting with someone who speaks their language. It's not just about practicality, it's about sending a message that you value their culture and their business.
Absolutely. And it's not just about language. Dealerships need to create a welcoming and inclusive environment that reflects the diversity of their customer base that could involve everything from the decor and music to community partnerships and culturally relevant events.
It's about making people feel comfortable like they belong. And that leads us to another important area, flexible financing options. We know that many Latino buyers are entering the market for the first time, and they might not have the same credit history or financial resources as other segments.
Right, offering alternative financing solutions like in-house financing or partnerships with community lenders can be a game changer for a lot of those first-time buyers. It's about removing those barriers and making car ownership accessible to a wider range of people.
And I imagine those alternative financing options could be really helpful for individuals who might have mixed immigration status or limited credit history. It's about meeting people where they are and providing solutions that fit their circumstances.
Exactly. You hit the nail on the head. Now, let's not forget about the digital realm. We already talked about how Latino consumers are really active online and very influenced by social media recommendations. Dealerships need to have a strong online presence, engaging content, and targeted Spanish language campaigns that go beyond simple translations.
It's about creating content that resonates, that speaks to their aspirations and their values, and it's about being present on the platforms they use: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, even WhatsApp.
Yeah, building an online community, responding to comments, engaging in those conversations. It's all part of creating that sense of trust and connection.
And speaking of connections, we can't forget about the importance of family and community, especially within the Latino culture. Dealerships can tap into this by showcasing those spacious vehicles that cater to larger families, highlighting safety features, and even sponsoring local events that bring the community together.
Imagine a dealership sponsoring like a back-to-school event or a neighborhood festival. It's a way to really show a commitment to the community that goes beyond just selling cars.
It's about building goodwill, fostering a sense of belonging, and creating a lasting impression that stays with consumers long after they've driven off the lot.
It's about becoming part of the fabric of the community, not just a business transaction. And finally, let's circle back to a topic that's been kind of weaving its way through our conversation, the rise of electric vehicles.
Yeah, we know that younger generations are more and more concerned about climate change and sustainability, and that includes younger Latino consumers. This is a huge opportunity for dealerships to tap into this growing market segment.
Absolutely. It's about showcasing the benefits of EVs, addressing concerns about range anxiety and charging infrastructure, and maybe even offering incentives or test drive events specifically for the Latino community.
It's about being proactive, being at the forefront of this technological shift, and demonstrating a commitment to a more sustainable future.
Exactly. And as technology continues to evolve, we can expect to see even more innovations that really cater to the specific needs and preferences of these diverse consumer segments.
So dealerships need to stay informed, stay adaptable, and be willing to embrace change to really thrive in this dynamic market. Now, we've covered a lot of ground today, from brand preferences to cultural nuances to the rise of EVs. But before we wrap up, I want to zoom out and look at the bigger picture. What does the future hold for the U.S. auto market, especially as the Latino population continues to grow?
Yeah, it feels like we're at this turning point, with demographics changing and all this new technology and how consumer values are shifting. So trends are you seeing emerge, and what does it all mean for the auto industry as a whole? Well, we've already talked a bit about electric vehicles and that growing interest, but I think that's really just the beginning. As technology keeps advancing, we're going to see even more innovations that cater to the specific needs of these diverse groups of consumers. Things like personalized in-car experiences, voice-activated assistants that speak multiple languages, and really seamless integration with all the popular social media platforms.
So it's not just about getting from point A to point B. It's about that whole experience, personalized and connected and something that reflects your lifestyle.
Exactly. And as the Latino population keeps growing, their influence on those trends is just going to get stronger. We're
Yeah.
already seeing a demand for vehicles that reflect their values,
Yeah.
family-oriented, tech-savvy, and more eco-conscious.
We talked earlier about how some Latino consumers view a new car as a symbol of achievement, upward mobility and all that. I wonder if that same idea could apply to electric vehicles as well. They could be seen as not just transportation, but a statement about embracing the future and a more sustainable lifestyle.
That's a really interesting point. And as electric vehicles become more affordable and accessible, I think that idea is only going to become more common. It's
Hmm.
not just about keeping up with the Joneses anymore. It's about being a part of something bigger,
Yeah.
moving towards a cleaner future.
And dealerships have such an important role to play in this whole transition. They need to be more than just salespeople. They need to be educators, advisors, helping consumers figure out this new world of electric vehicles and charging and all the new technology.
I completely agree. Dealerships that really embrace this change, that invest in training and creating a customer-focused experience,
Yeah.
those are the ones that are going to do well in this new era. They'll build that trust, become the go-to resource for navigating all this new stuff.
Adaptability seems to be the key takeaway here. The auto industry is changing so fast with demographics, technology, and consumer preferences all in flux. Those who can adapt, innovate, and really understand their customers, those are the ones who will come out on top.
Absolutely. The old ways just won't work anymore. It's all about embracing change, anticipating trends, and building a business model that reflects how diverse and dynamic the market is.
This has been such an insightful deep dive. We've covered so much from the cultural side of the Latino market to the rise of EVs and the future of the whole auto industry.
It's been great exploring all this with you. It's clear that the auto industry is at a crossroads, and the decisions they make today are going to have a huge impact down the road.
Before we go, I want to leave our listeners with one last thought. We've talked a lot about data and trends and strategies, but in the end, it always comes back to people, understanding what they need, what they want, and what they value. It's about building relationships based on trust and respect, and it's about creating a future where mobility isn't just about getting around, it's a reflection of who we are.
Thanks for joining us on Safe Duo Day. We'll see you next time.